Hey everyone, welcome back. This week we are in my basement studio, as you can see. We're taking it to the whiteboard. We're going to do a classroom-like session on the whiteboard. We're going to have fun with it. And what we're talking about is understanding your paycheck. We're going to talk about the 5 basic components in everybody's paycheck that's helpful for you to understand so that you know what's happening between when you get paid by your employer and when it hits your bank account. There's stuff that happens in between there, and that's all on your paycheck. So I'm sharing this because if you're anything like me and you can relate, when I first started my financial transformation journey, I didn't know where to begin. It was all overwhelming. So I just said, well, let me just start with the beginning. Where's my money coming from? And I remember opening up a paycheck and just feeling overwhelmed with all the information on there and trying to make sense of all the different numbers, which ones match which ones, and it just felt like a lot. So we're going to keep it simple today. Again, 5 simple basic components of every paycheck. If what I cover today piques your interest and you're like, show me more, jump into the description because I'm going to leave a link to a tutorial that I did that goes into more detail and talks about each of these components in more detail. And within those 5 components, it also shares tips on how you can save more money or have more control of what's happening in those categories. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to start with the very beginning. It's your gross income is the amount of money that you get paid from your employer. It's your salary if you get paid salary. It's your hourly rate if you're an hourly employee, your bonuses, overtime, anything that you earn during the pay period. Your paycheck will have that amount in your gross income box. So we're going to make box number 1. We're going to put a big G in there for gross income. Boom. That's a positive. That's a good number. What happens from there is some things get taken out. So we're going to talk about that. So the first thing that gets taken out are your pre-tax deductions. These are the things that come out before the taxes get calculated and taken out from your paycheck. So hence the name pre-tax deductions. They're deductions from your paycheck before you get taxed. So box number 2, we're going to call that P-R-E. That's a minus. Pre-tax deductions. Things that fall into that category are retirement contributions. If you're participating in your company's retirement account, you'll see that in there. The traditional retirement accounts are pre-tax. There's another kind I'll talk about in a second. But in the pre-tax box is your traditional retirement account. It's medical expense premiums, the expenses that you pay to have medical coverage. It's medical savings. Even though it's a savings, it's an expense that comes out of your paycheck and gets put into a dedicated medical spending account. And there's good things about that, which I'll talk about another time. But these are the things that come out of your paycheck before the government calculates and charges you your taxes. So what comes next, as you can tell, are your taxes. Box number 3, we're going to put a big T in there. Those are your taxes. That's a negative. There's a couple negatives here. So box number 1 is your gross income minus your pre-tax deductions is the number that you're taxed on. So let's use a super simple example. If you make $100 and you have $25 of pre-tax deductions, you have $75 left over. The 75 is what you get taxed on. So it helps you. It means your paycheck's bigger in that sense because you're not paying taxes on those dollars. Those expenses are coming out, but you're at least not paying taxes on them. What comes after your taxes are your post-tax deductions. So that's box number 4. Post-tax deductions. We're going to put post in there, P-O-S-T. That's also a negative. These are dollars coming out of your paycheck after you pay taxes. So your pre-tax dollars have come out, your taxes have been assessed, and then everything else comes out. Everything else that comes out is coming out in this category. These are things like if you have also a retirement account, but it's Roth. Roth is just a after-tax type of retirement account. So it means you're paying your taxes now and you won't pay them later. If you do a retirement account that's traditional, comes out of your pre-tax, it means that you're paying taxes later. So again, it means a little bit higher paycheck because you're not paying tax on those dollars now, but later on down the road, you'll pay those taxes. If you have things in post-tax, your retirement account is in the post-tax category, it means you're paying taxes now, which means a little more expense in this paycheck, a little less take-home pay, and you're trading that off for not having to pay taxes later. That's something you would talk to your investment professional about, to your tax accountant about. I'll cover that educationally during this series or during one of my episodes, but I just want to share with you what those words mean so that it's not such a mystery. So then last but not least, this leads us to box number 5. This is your net pay. This is the magic number that your budget is based off of. So we're going to do a net pay, N-E-T. That's where it's at right there. That's the number that most often you say, send it to when you sign up with your employer, when you're first onboarding. They say, give us a checking account that you want us to send your money to. So you usually pick an account. It's usually your primary checking, and it goes there. However, I'm going to add this because a lot of people don't realize this. At my last employer, I was able to send my money to 8 different places. So in your payroll, even though with your direct deposit, when you sign up, it might not give you all those options, jump online, log in. You can find out. It'll tell you probably on that page how many you can do. I was, like I said, able to do 8. So that's the beginning of you taking control of your finances. Instead of letting everything funnel into one checking account and trying to make sense of it all, start doing things intentionally before it even hits your bank account. Send some money. This is what I was saying. My husband and I do. We send money directly to a food account. That's what we take right out of the gate. We have a budget for it. We came up with a budgeted amount. So this is obviously before you've budgeted, but you come back to this. And when you know an amount that you want to consistently set aside for different things, open up an account for that thing, put the money there, and then manage it out of that account. You're not having to deal with all the noise in this one thing. Eliminate the noise. I'm all about simplifying. If I don't have to think about what I'm doing with my money and one card just means it's coming out of that category, I'd rather swipe that card for food than go back into the account and say, what did I spend on food this month? Or what did I spend on gas this month? If it's in that account, it's for that topic. So that just makes our life a lot easier. And I love sharing that tip because it's really helped us. And we don't even use a budgeting app anymore because that does most of the work for us. And we have other accounts we'll use dedicated for different types of savings. But this is powerful. If you know that you can send money to multiple places, set it and forget it. That's all that taking control of your finances is about. And if you set it and forget it to a savings account, it's out of sight, out of mind. When your money gets to your checking account, you kind of mentally you're forced like, okay, well, that's all we have. We're going to figure that out. But there's power in budgeting. We're going to talk all about budgeting. This is what I love sharing is the freedom that comes with budgeting. So this is what happens after you start budgeting. What I wanted you to get comfortable with was there's stuff in here that you might not realize you have control over that you didn't think you had control over. I'm going to give you 2 quick examples. So 2 things that we discovered when we went back through and revisited our paycheck as employers changed and different things. When my husband moved out here, we were merging finances after we got married. Sometimes it's a whirlwind. So finally we had some breathing room to go back. One thing we figured out was we were actually dedicating specific dollar amounts to get taken out in our taxes that we didn't realize, like it was an extra amount. It was only $25 a paycheck, but still, it adds up. So we realized we didn't need to do that anymore because we were already getting money back on our taxes. We didn't need to spend more taxes. And I also realized on the other side of it that we were thinking that we had money coming out of our account to fund a health savings account for our medical expenses, and it wasn't happening. So it's important to know what you're looking for in these categories And the knowledge is power. Empower yourself with knowledge so you can make informed decisions. So I'm going to close this out with this tip is, if you need this number to be a little bigger, it's not saying just to take everything out I'm not saying to stop your retirement, but if you're investing a certain amount and you're like, okay, for this season, I need to tweak that, go into your paycheck and you'll see what's coming out for all these categories. Pre-tax, again, a lot of stuff is in your capability to change that number in your pre-tax. Taxes, it's a little more difficult to tweak this number, but when you sign up for work, you fill out a W-4 form and it says how many dependents are you taking care of, and it asks you a bunch of questions. That determines the volume of taxes that get taken out, whether they treat you more like a single person or more like a head of household or more like a family. The fewer people you're taking care of, the more taxes they take out, because it generally relates to how much taxes you owe. So here's the clue. If you're getting taxes back every year, it feels so good because it feels like a bonus. But think about this. You are giving the government, Uncle Sam, a free loan. Would it be great to get a free loan? You're giving your money to the government for free for them to go to work for them, when you could be using that money to pay off your debt and save money on interest. So keep the money in your pocket during the year. Pay as little as you can. The idea is to break even on your taxes. So if you're not breaking even, if you're owing way too much and it's hurting you at the end of the year and you're having trouble paying it back because you don't have the ability to save ahead, that's another hint. Maybe you need to increase the amount of taxes that are coming out of your paycheck. That's where you do it. It's not just out of your control. You have control to manage that activity through your taxes, through your W-4 form. And then lastly, the post-taxes, you do also have control of that, especially if it's a retirement account. You can turn that on or off at your leisure. Things that you can't control are things that are being garnished, if it's child support, things that are mandated by the federal and state government. If it's an annual parking expense that you commit to, maybe you can't back out of that. But go through there. That's your homework, is open up your paycheck, whether it's paper or electronic, get in there, roll your sleeves up, take a look at the acronyms or the abbreviations. If you don't understand it, you have permission to ask your manager, to ask HR or your payroll department, depending on what your line of communication is. Ask somebody. You're supposed to understand what's happening in your paycheck, and you'll be surprised. Maybe you'll find out something you didn't know before. So do the hard thing, which is just getting uncomfortable doing something new, but you're equipped now. So you know what you're looking for. All this stuff will show up on top of your paycheck. All the boxes below are just the details that match these boxes. So don't worry about the stuff. Well, the stuff below will show you the line items, but get in there. Watch that video that's in the description if you really want to dissect this. But this is step one in taking control of your finances. So get out there, take control of your finances, slay your finances this week. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. This is the first step on your journey. I'm rooting for you. You can do this. If you have questions, email me, leah@moneywise.com. Jump on my website, moneywisemom.com. Hit that contact me button. We'll set up a half-hour call, get on the phone, talk about your situation one-on-one. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Have a great week. And until next time, bye for now.